In today's episode, we have Steph, a therapeutic mentor, who is going to talk to us today about her experience with perimenopause and how she had to empower herself through education and understanding perimenopause and getting confirmation through doctors. So stay tuned on Unapologetically Woman. Welcome to Unapologetically Woman, the podcast where women come together to share their unfiltered experiences navigating womanhood. Join us as we dive into candid conversations about periods, perimenopause, postpartum bleeding, miscarriages, and more. This is a safe space where we embrace the raw, real, and often unspoken aspects of being a woman. Get ready to be empowered, inspired, and heard. This is Unapologetically Woman. Welcome back, everyone, to Unapologetically Woman. Today, we have Steph, who is reigning in from Essex, y'all. So very excited, to have, so many people coming from different countries and different nations on this show. So I'm very honored. So Steph is a therapeutic mentor and works solely with women. Okay, she is for you. And today she is going to tell us about the struggle with perimenopause and the things that we need to understand as women, and a lot of things that we are not aware of when it comes to perimenopause and the current struggle that she's dealing with now, you guys. So Steph, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be joining you today.
Oh yes, it's truly like this is an honor, you guys. I've been able to read a bit about, Steph's story, and we are going to start a bit differently. Normally, you guys, I will start with someone talking to me about their period and their experience, but we are actually going to go right into when Steph started to realize something is going wrong. And it wasn't just, we were speaking earlier with her body, it was also with her mind.
Yeah.
So I would really love for you to talk about, about what age did you start to experience the changes in your body and mind? And when did you realize this is perimenopause?
Perimenopause is a really new word, and it's not a word that I had really ever heard of until probably the last 5 to 6 years. I only ever knew menopause as this thing that women experience when they get to the end of their kind of cycle life, and it makes you a little bit crazy. You have hot sweats. I've experienced with females in my life where they're just having these hot flushes or power surges, as they used to call them, and they'd walk around with like fans and things in their bags, and I would just be like, that sounds horrific. But I'm years away from that. I envisioned it would be like in my 60s. I wouldn't have to even think about this for many years. But there's been, certainly here in the UK, there's a massive educational push on menopause and menopausal symptoms. And there's a lot more support in our work environments to support women's mental health now with menopause. But I'm self-employed. I work for myself. That isn't available to me. So I'm kind of out there trying to seek as much knowledge as I can. And I think, I'm 49 years old now. Around 44, 45, I started to notice changes in my body shape as a starter, really. I've always been able to maintain my weight. I've never really struggled with it. Even having 3 children, I would bounce back fairly quickly. I started to notice joint pain that was just creeping up on me. I'd get up in the morning, I'd be like aching and struggling, and I was like, what is going on? Like, what is going on here? My especially around the stomach area, the weight was just all going there. It was just piling into that space as well. And I couldn't understand because I've never struggled with that before. And it was starting to really get me down. And I started dieting because I thought, well, I'm going to have to lose some weight here because none of my clothes are fitting anymore. And I got onto that kind of yo-yo of dieting, losing weight, piling it back on again, dieting, losing weight. And it was just this cycle that was continuing. And then my mind started to go. So the sort of premenstrual symptoms, insanely noisy in my head. Just any insecurity I had for 3 weeks of the month would be relatively quiet. And for 1 week of the month, they got really loud, and they would consume me completely. If I had an insecurity, like, I don't know, somebody didn't like me, in that week, I would just be like, oh my God, they hate me. What have I done? How have I upset them? It was spiraling, and it was getting so loud and quite dark at times. And I thought, this is because I'd never suffered with PMS. I'd never really struggled with any of these things. I transitioned through my period pretty easily. When I got my period, it was pretty easy. I had my children pretty easy, all of that. This was a really kind of ramped up level of hormone shift that was going on. And I started to reach out to people in my network. As a self-employed female business owner, I have lots of people in my network, and then most of them are women. So I started talking to some of them, and I was talking to nutritional therapists. What is going on? And then I started to educate myself on all of this. But yeah, that whole sort of first year of it, I just felt like I was losing my mind. I really did.
Oh my gosh. You bringing up the mental aspect, I think, is very important for everyone of us to understand and know that, because not only, women who are dealing with the mental aspects when it comes to just their period, it's like, dude, there's a whole nother beast when it comes to perimenopause. And just like you said, you had it smooth sailing. And then all of a sudden it's like, boom. And because, like you said, that education, right? We're not educated to know. So automatically you're like, oh, diet and exercise.
Yeah.
Because, and then it's like, dude, if we're educated to know that our hormones are directly connected to our gut, we would probably consider things differently, right? So it's like, oh my gosh, so it's like your gut is getting bigger. So that was a sign for you.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you mentioned the joint pain was also a sign for you, but it was a sign for you because it was new for your body.
Yeah. Brand new. It was, my hands, my back, my hips, all of those types of things. And initially you see your doctor and they say, oh, let's do an x-ray to make sure there's no arthritis, or let's check this, or, send you to see a physio. And at the time, there was, even with our local GPs, doctors in the UK, their knowledge on menopause is so restricted because there's no money in understanding female health, right? There really isn't. There's no education. There's no drive for it. There has been a massive push, I will say, in the last few years. So there was nobody that could say, well, this is something that could happen as you're, going through this phase of womanhood now. Nobody that would say that. So you're kind of thinking, okay, so now maybe I now need to see a physio, and now maybe I need to do this or do that. So you're trying to find solutions to something to help yourself feel better. And when you've got pains, when you've got muscular pain, it gets you down as well. It makes your headspace even worse. It really gets you down, and you're in pain through the day. And then that week of the month where you're going crazy in your head as well, it's just like, what is happening? What is happening to me? It's insane.
Wow. And I really don't, it's funny. I always focus so much on, I guess, the pain body, and I never actually think about the mental aspect of what it's actually doing. And you're right. It is depressing when you're seeing your body go through these changes, especially because of what we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is cool.
Female communities are so diminished now as well. They're so diminished, and particularly through COVID, we were all separated. We were all kind of restricting ourselves in different ways, and over many generations, the whole community of females has been set back. So you aren't around other women that are experiencing these things. It's like anything, these transitions women go through, whether it's childbirth, periods, breastfeeding. All of these things are taught to us by elder women, and we watch them and we absorb what they're doing. We don't get that now with the communities and how we all live in a very disjointed life, which is online and not connection. So I think I wasn't even in the position where I could watch or see from other females that this is normal. You're not hearing that. All you've been told is that this stage is when women lose their mind a little bit. This is when they go crazy. She's crazy. She's menopausal. That dialogue that is spun out. You don't feel safe in that type of, in that space.
Wow. you're absolutely correct. That stigma that is just placed on it in general. And it makes you as a woman not even want to talk about it because you're like, people are going to think I'm crazy now. You know, if I say something now, my feelings are not going to be considered valid anymore because you stigmatize me like with being menopausal. And it's like, wow, that stigma still does not end, ladies, apparently, because we get that same thing when we're on our period.
Correct.
It's like, oh, you're crazy. So either way, we're crazy on our period or crazy during menopause.
Yeah. And the education isn't there for men either. I know when I was growing up and the period education was very much girls go over there, boys go over there. And they learn their thing and they learn that thing, and girls learn how to manage it and how to disclose it and keep it really private, and it's all so separate, and it's something that affects everybody, and for men and boys and for everybody to be able to understand the female body and what's happening. You're going to have a female in your life at some point, and it would be really useful for you to be able to understand this stuff, but it's almost like a female problem only. So let's just put them over there. It's a bit inconvenient.
It's the same thing over here. And, like, it's crazy because I would think it would be better, but it was the same thing. I'm 38 now. And I can tell you when I was in school, they literally had us separated and was talking about where like children come from. Like, it was just like, okay. And at that moment, that's when I decided I was not having children. Like, I kid you not, like 6th grade, I was like, no, like, why would I go through that? And at the time, the stigma, because I'm a girl, they're like, oh, she'll change her mind when she gets older. It's like, it's a given. It's like, you have to do that. Like, cause this is like your purpose.
Yeah, this is what you're here to do.
This is what you're here to do. So like the stigmas, and there's just so many stigmas just about us being women.
Yeah.
Just about us being women. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to go on a quick commercial break, you guys, and we're going to come back with Steph's story, and she's going to talk to us about the point where she was actually like, it's perimenopause for sure, and how she's dealing with that now. So stay tuned. Welcome to Unapologetically Woman, the podcast where we dive into all things related to women's health, empowerment, and success. I'm Ms Tonya, a dedicated life coach using menstrual cycle synergy to help women executives, women entrepreneurs, and corporations, helping them establish better policies to accommodate women. If you are enjoying today's episode and want to stay updated with our latest content, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Share this video with a woman who would benefit from our discussions. We're always looking to grow our community and empower more women. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below sharing the insights you gained from today's episode. And don't forget to like this video to show your support. If you are watching during the premiere, make sure you leave a comment during the premiere below in order to enter into our monthly giveaway where you'll receive live CBD resin gummy, CBD skincare products, a period tracker planner, and a spa certificate. Winners will be tagged and announced. New episodes premiere on YouTube on Wednesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. If you're ready to take the next step towards your own empowerment, book a free 15 life coaching session with me. Visit www.mistonya.com to schedule your session today. For corporations looking to support women's health, I offer consulting services to help implement better policies. Want to be a guest on our show and share your story? Visit our website or find the link in the description to express your interests. Thank you for being part of our community. Subscribe now, click the notification bell, leave a comment, like, share, and join us on this empowering journey. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on Unapologetically Woman. Welcome back, everybody, to Unapologetically Woman. We are here with Steph, and she continues to tell us about her journey in dealing with perimenopause. And what I really love about Steph's story is that she's keeping it real right now, okay? Like, when talking about what we go through mentally with the body changes that we are experiencing. And sooner or later, women, you are going to go through this. If you are around my age, you really need to be paying attention right now, because it is inevitable that you've either started it already, or you are about to approach it very soon. And we are about to go back into Steph's story. So she's going through all these changes, all right? Her mentality's going down. Everybody thinks she's crazy, and she's starting to educate herself. So there gets to a point where Steph is confirmed it's perimenopause. And I would love for you to take the audience through that bit of your journey.
Absolutely. So I've worked very closely with a nutritional therapist. She's very skilled in female health. I've been talking to her. I did some work one-to-one with her. We started looking at what was going on, and it was her suggestion that I believe these are perimenopausal symptoms. Go and see your doctor. Let's get some blood tests done, and let's see what comes as a result of that. And the combination of working with her and actually getting to work with a really good doctor. The difficulty with the system that we have in the UK is we have a national health system. So I love it, and I'm all for it, and it's paid through our taxes, so it's completely free at point of entry. But you always tend to see a different doctor when you go to see somebody in your practice. But I that day lucked out. I actually got to see a female doctor that was very skilled and very knowledgeable around the process of perimenopause, menopause, and then postmenopause. So we had a very long conversation about it. And she gave me options to go away, think about your options, think about what you want to do, because we were looking at HRT, so hormone replacement therapy, as a way to help my body. She said, don't make a decision today, but I believe this would be useful and helpful for you. So I went away, we scheduled a call for a couple of weeks later. I did my research, and I decided it was the right course of action for me. So I do currently use HRT as a way to support my body through this process, as well as other things. It's not the solution. It isn't the only thing that you're going to do. It's an aid, but it's not the only thing that you do. So that's where I got to with my sort of healthcare providers, and I'm still taking that now, and I will continue until I feel it's necessary to stop.
Okay, this is great. What exactly is HRT? What exactly is that?
So I take a mixture of estrogen and progesterone. So the estrogen I take every day, and I use it in the morning. I pop it as a gel that I place on my body, and it's just to help the estrogen production in your body. And then I take progesterone, which I take in mid-cycle, so around ovulation time, and you take it until you get your period. So it's just because the progesterone drops dramatically, and that is what contributes to that headspace noise. It's the decrease and the mass decrease that we have in progesterone. And that is what makes the noise in my head really loud. It doesn't take it away, because it's not going to, and I wouldn't want it to. I don't want to mute myself. I still want to experience my cycle, because actually there's a lot of power in the female cycle. So I still want to be part of that story, but I don't want to mute myself completely. But I still need a little bit of help, because it got really loud at times. So I'm on that journey as well, but I've changed my diet. I'm exercising differently as well. I map my cycle out, so I track my cycle. So I know when the dip's coming. So I dip at a certain time of the month. And because I'm self-employed, I map that out in my week as well. So I know maybe don't take any extra clients that week, or maybe don't promote something that week because you won't have the energy. Next week, you know you're going to kick into action again. So give yourself a break that week. So I kind of help myself along with the medication.
That is amazing. I love that. Like, I love the fact that, one, you're like, okay, HRT isn't the only thing. No. It's not the only thing. You have to still put in that exercise. You have to change the way that you're eating. And, this is so healing, at the same time, to learn this information, to be like, oh, we can actually like start incorporating certain foods, to help us. There are other options. And that is great. I think that's absolutely fabulous. Now, with the other things, you having to change like your exercises and things of that nature, which, it's funny you say that, because I say that with my clients when it comes to their menstrual cycle, it'll be certain times during that phase where I'm like, okay, this is not the time for your high intensity workout. This is more of a time for you to go into your Pilates. Like, you know, like, okay, this is the time you go all in. Okay, you lift that car, girl. Like, you have all the strength, you know, and it's the same thing. So the fact that we can still track during this time gives us as women so much power.
Oh my goodness. You know, when I learned to track my cycle, which was probably around 15 years ago, this is something that all girls should be taught from the get-go. From the get-go, we should be able to understand what's happening every week, what's going on, when to cut yourself a break, when to propel, when to make decisions, when to not make decisions, all of those things. And none of that has been taught. I've taught myself or learned that or been around people that have taught me that. It's the same now. Even in perimenopause, this is still the cycle that I'm still moving through. So I am still looking at those moments when I'm in that kind of propel mode, and then I slow myself down and I give myself a break during that week leading up to my period, because I know I'm going to be challenged mentally that week, and I know my feelings are going to be supersized, and I'm just going to be gentle and kind with myself. I exercise every week. But I specifically chose a trainer that worked with females she is a female, and she understands the cycle of a female. And actually we're strength training now to build my body up. And I'm now, in our 20s, we prepare for the bikini body, don't we? We're like, I'm going to look this good in the summer. Now I'm preparing for my 60s and my 70s, and I'm training myself to move through the next phase of womanhood rather than look a certain way. I want to feel a certain way now.
That is amazing. That is amazing because, wow, so if you guys don't understand, she came out of ego. Like, you are entirely just being like your true authentic self. Like, that's what I just heard. I'm like, you are just authentically Steph. Like, there is no, because oftentimes I feel like women struggle with the changes that we go through because we're trying to hold on to it. Like, it's like, okay, honey, spring is no longer here. like
there's a real sadness that we have to process with that. Like, when this all started for me, I felt really resentful, and I'd look at my body in the mirror and just go, I don't like what I see. I like my 30-year-old body. I don't like my 40-year-old body. And then the aches and pains, and I'm getting old. And now it's all, what's the point? And I was then, why me? Why do women have to endure this? It's not fair. I've had 3 children. I've done all of that stuff. Now's the good time, surely. And I think a couple of years ago, if somebody had offered me to have it all removed, I'd have said, yeah, take the lot. I'm done. But now I'm in a much different place, and I'll be lying if I said I've done that all myself. I've had therapy. I've been working with a therapist at times. I've done some reprogramming mentally on what it means to have this body and the preconceived ideas that have been conditioned into me about women, what women's bodies should look like. It's been a period of transition that I've had to go on and get some support with as well, so that I look in the mirror and just go, wow, look, you're still here. You're still great. You're still fighting, and I'm talking to myself in a much kinder way now, but it has taken work. It has.
Yes. And that is the key, that us putting in that work. And the first thing is accepting it, right? Like, because once you accept it, you can detach from resentment, you can detach from that sadness, once you accept it, accept where you are right now. And it's like, when you're in the now, it's like, okay, right now, this is it, and that's when things just start flooding in to help us. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, now that we've released all this stuff that does not do us any good, now information on how to deal with the now starts coming in easier for us, right? You started being able to get access to those who could help you with what you were doing. When you started to let little things go, you started to educate yourself and surround yourself with people who specialize with women, and know exactly what you're going through. So you were even intentional, and that's another thing about being intentional in your actions as well when it comes to our health and seeking health. Yes.
100%, but it was definitely a grieving process. I would get the anger, the sadness, the frustration. And now at that point in acceptance of, and I know the week before my period is due, I'm going to go back a step potentially and still feel a bit frustrated. And, you know, those insecurities might pop back up again, but I will work with them and I'll speak kindly to them. And I know that I also say this too shall pass. And next week, I know I'm going to be on fire. So we're all good. We're all good.
And when you say like, you know, the grieving process, that's like you feel is a continuous process.
I think so, because even though I have no plans to have any more children, this is still the end of that part of my life. And whether I want it to be that or not is irrelevant at this point. It's still my body going through that grieving process. It's still my body saying, and my mind saying, this is past now, and we're now moving you into the next phase, and I'm transitioning. And I think any transition that we experience as a female is a little bit uncomfortable at times, and it's bumpy and it's unknown and it's fearful, because we love to be in a place where we know we're, you know, comfort zones. And I think it's moving you into that. And I think also society says that we're not relevant anymore as females. This is us done as females. And I think that also plays in the unconscious, even though I know I'm not done and I know I've got a lot more to do and I know my value. But that conditioning that we experience as females is so deeply embedded in us through generations as well that you know, you don't even know it's there until it's there, and you're like, wow, where did that come from? I've been done having kids for 10 years or even longer. Why am all of a sudden resisting this change? So it's just working through that.
Wow. Oh, you just said something major when you were saying like we become irrelevant. Mm-hmm. Like, because it's like, look, you can't have babies anymore. What good are you?
Exactly.
Kind of thing, you know?
Exactly. I remember watching something on TV once, and it was a medical drama, and they were talking to three women in their 60s, and they were making some comments, and they said, we're irrelevant. People don't see us anymore because we're in our 60s now. Us as women, we can wear what we like, we can say what we want, we can do what we want because no one notices us anymore. And whilst it was amusing, it was kind of like, oh my God, that is how women are seen. We get to a point where we're on the shelf, as we say in the UK. You're on the shelf now. We don't need you anymore. And I know consciously, and the best part of me know that that's not true. I know that. But there is still a little part of society that says, you're done. Off you go.
Wow. That is true. Like, unfortunately, like, that's all I can say is like, dude, this is true. And, you know, thankfully we have, you know, like you said, for the past few years, there has definitely been a push in women's health education. Yep. Like, I see it and I feel it here. And, you know, I had a previous guest come on. She was an OBGYN nurse practitioner. Mm-hmm. And she was saying, you know, she feels like a lot of us became angry. And that's when we're like, no, we need to start talking about this. And like, we just got fed up, you know, and it was like, we're going to start talking about our health. And it's like, wow, this is happening worldwide, you guys. Like, it's not just in the US, you guys, like it's over in Europe. Like, and that's amazing, you know, to have that. Like, that's so much power right there. Mm-hmm. And like, you coming on here to tell us this story is so much power. And I want to use these last moments of the show for you to let us know as women how we can support you and your business, like, you know, how we can get in contact with you and what you're doing now, and any advice that you would like to leave women who are experiencing perimenopause.
Mm-hmm. I would say trust yourself. If you feel disconnected, something's changed and you're starting to feel disconnected, trust yourself and seek out people that can support you. It was through having my network that's really validated me and told, and shown me that I'm not alone in these thoughts. And as women, we suck things up and we suppress things, and we can isolate ourselves quite easily. So know that you're not alone. And if something doesn't feel right, talk to someone until they listen to you. Don't be disregarded. Don't allow yourself to be disregarded and told, oh, you're fine, don't be silly or whatever. Find somebody that will listen and say, no, there's nothing wrong with you. This is a normal process, because this whole process I'm experiencing and all women will experience is normal. It's perfectly normal. It's what we're all going to experience. And in some cultures in different parts of the world, women at this phase in their life are revered as the most wise, the most incredible, and they are truly revered. So don't allow yourself to be put on that shelf. I am pushing myself into a position of saying I'm going to be revered. That's where I'm going.
It's worthy, y'all. Like, yes, all hail Steph. I am down with that. Yes.
Absolutely. We can only take back the power. It's been taken from us for many years, but we have to take ownership of taking it back. We can't expect somebody else to give that to us. So women are rising, and there is a tide turning, and we are demanding an equal seat, and we are demanding equal education, and it is coming. The tide is turning, certainly in my part of the world. So keep talking, keep connecting to yourself, and keep trusting yourself.
Oh, that is such beautiful advice. And one last thing, Steph.
Yes.
Your business. How can we get in contact with your business?
So I work online. Obviously, I'm in the UK, but I work online. I have clients across the world. I'm a therapist, so I work with women to help them do exactly what I've had people help me do: pick back all the layers, find themselves again, release stuff that's holding them back, and move forward with all your values intact and in an aligned way. So you can find me online. I'm on Instagram. And you can find my details as well. So I guess that you'll share them on the podcast show notes. I'll pass them on.
Yes, for sure. Yes, Steph, you guys, if you are listening to the show on iTunes, it's available, the direct link there in the description. And if you are watching this on YouTube, it is right there in the description, okay? Like how to get directly in contact with Steph, okay? Thank you so much for being here on the show.
It's been fun. It's my privilege, really. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you. And we are going to go into our closing, and we will be back. Thanks for joining us today. Learn more about our guests in the description below. Download your free period tracker to stay in tune with your energy levels, mood, cravings, and your flow. Interested in being a guest on our show? Complete the form in the description. Leave a comment below to share your thoughts on today's episode and be entered into our surprise monthly giveaway. For women looking for a natural way to relieve menstrual cramps, try live resin gummies to ease menstrual cramps. The link is available in the description. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more empowering content. This is Unapologetically Woman.